So question 4 of the evaluation asks, what new technologies have you been using in the production of your music video task and also the production of the ancillary texts? So one new technology which I've used has been Blogger, which is an internet blog service which allows you to create your own blog, which I've been using for my A2 media course as a sort of coursework folder, an online one that's electronic as well. And one of the best things about Blogger means that it's much quicker, much easier to distribute your work. Much easier than using a paper folder, I have to say. If I was to use a paper folder for everything, it means that I would have hundreds of pieces of paper in one folder, which the teacher, the assessor, or whoever would have to take home in their own time, meaning that I wouldn't have access to it. And then it could easily get lost, whatever, and such on the way. But with the electronic blog, it means I can put things up whenever I like. The assessor, my peers, I can review it at any point at all I like. And I don't have to cart around huge paper folders or anything. It's always on there. It's available at all times. The portability of it means that anybody can view it at any time, wherever they are. I can edit posts on there at any time, wherever I am. If I was on the train, for example, I could still edit a post should I need to. And it also makes room for a lot more creativity. Any PowerPoints or Word documents which I produce on the computer can be uploaded straight away to Blogger. It means that I don't have to print out thousands of pieces of paper from PowerPoint slides. I can put it straight onto my blog in the format which I created it when I edited it on the computer, which makes for a lot more creativity indeed. And democratization, it means that anybody can create a blog. You don't have to be a big media producer with lots of money to create your own blogs or your own media products. I can distribute whatever I like, however I like. I could upload a YouTube video onto my blog using the HTML code that I can put straight into my Blogger post, which will take the person who views that particular blog post straight to the YouTube video. It's a lot easier to do things, a lot more versatile, and it's just a brilliant new technology which I've come across and I've used. When it came to finishing the final posts of my music video and the final edits of my digipack designs, I could put them straight onto the blog, and the comments which people could leave on there from around the world, it could be anyone viewing it, would be great for audience feedback. It means that people who were genuinely interested in the product, people who were genuinely my proposed target audience and people who were my audience would be commenting, and so I could make valued judgments on what they liked, what they didn't like. I could put it straight into my evaluations, I could put it straight into my research as well, and I could make an informed judgment on who my audience were for my productions. That leads me on to the next technology which was used, which was a social media site. And one of the social media sites which I used in the research stages of my music video was SoundCloud. Now, SoundCloud is a social media networking site which unsigned bands and artists can use to put out their work to a very, very wide audience. How I used it is I went onto SoundCloud on a computer, I searched for any artists which I might like to use, any bands which I'd came across, or I could even search by genre, which was particularly useful in the creativity of choosing an unsigned British artist. It meant that I could search by genre, so if there was a particular genre I wanted to target, which in my case was the electropop genre, I just typed it into SoundCloud, I found which artists came up on the listings, and I was able to upload their work straight onto my blog so that my teacher, my assessors and my peers could also comment on that to let me know if it was a good choice or not, and from that I could make more valued judgments. It also harnesses a lot more creativity for the artists which use SoundCloud. Before that, unsigned artists wouldn't have really got much airtime at all on the radio, in record shops. They tend to distribute mainstream music, mainstream artists, and the unsigned artists really wouldn't have got a lot of attention. But now it makes for democratization in their work. It means that anybody can produce music. It's not just the best of the best who can distribute their music to the thousands. It's not just the big media moguls who are able to distribute all of their work out to the thousands. It means that there's the little people, the people who don't have access to big expensive equipment, who don't have big record labels, can distribute their work. It means that there is a lot more content available out there as well, especially for us as media students. There's now a lot more content for me to choose from. I'm able to find an unsigned artist and meet the requirements of the course very easily using this such technology. Another social networking site I used was Facebook. I used Facebook as a site to contact the artists which I had an interest in. I could contact them directly. They would find my message in their inbox and they could message me back straight into my inbox, so I could get a really quick, swift response. If I asked them to get permission to use their work, it's very easy, much easier than sending a letter or even an email, in fact, because with instant messaging they can message back straight away. I could even find out if somebody's read the message and then find out straight away when they've replied to get a notification to my mobile phone. It just makes for a lot more ease in access. People are more widely available. Also portability, I could take it with me wherever I was. So for example, if I happened to be away for the weekend, wherever I happened to be, I'd still get my message through. I wouldn't have to wait at home for a letter in the post or anything. Meant it was a lot easier. Turnaround time a lot easier as well. It meant for a lot easier distribution of the messages. And another site that I used was YouTube. YouTube I used to directly upload my music video, my first drafts and even to the finished product. I uploaded my music video straight to YouTube. It meant though that people were able to comment on what I'd done. When it came to my first draft, I uploaded it straight to YouTube, and then I put a link on my blog as well, so that my peers, my teachers and assessors were able to view my finished drafts first time, but also people from around the world, people with an interest in that genre of music. People, my target audience, were able to comment on my video. I got comments on my video from around the world, people who were my target audience. They gave me feedback. It was really useful and valuable. It meant that I could change the things that I needed to change, and I could identify exactly what people wanted. It meant for a lot more creativity in the process of creating the music video. Which brings us on to the shoot. On shoot, I used a Sony Cyberspace digital camera to take stills photographs on the shoot, which meant I could upload them straight to my computer. I could then put them on the blog, my photographs on the blog. My teachers, assessors, my peers and I myself could review them in times to come, put them straight onto my planning. It aided my planning phenomenally. It meant that I could keep up to date really easily with my planning. Creativity as well. I could add captions to the photos I'd done, and then I could add more as the time came. I could add more photos as I did more shooting. It also meant that I could add rough footage of the shoot onto my blog, share it with my teacher as well, just to check I was doing the right thing. It meant for a lot more creativity in the process of creating the media. I wasn't just going in without any clue of what I was doing. I definitely knew what I was doing, because I was always constantly referring to the rough cuts, the mock shoots that I'd done as well, and able to do it with my digital cameras. Meant it was a lot easier on shoot as well. Which brings us to the editing process. When it came to editing, we used a program called Adobe Premiere Pro on the school computers. It was a really difficult program to get started actually, but as we got moving on it, it became a lot easier. I gained a lot of confidence in using it. It was easy to pick up, especially with a lot of tutorials which were available online. Another example of how new technology has come to benefit us, especially in creating my music video. When it came to making my music video, I was able to add effects to it. For example, on the particular scene where I was walking through Norwich Cathedral grounds, I was able to make my protagonist Jonny walk in slow motion and backwards as well, which was exactly what I envisioned in mind. If I wasn't to have this sort of technology available to me, then I might not have been able to make such sophisticated edits, make it look so sophisticated and real. it led to a lot of creativity in the process. I was able to add all of these new effects that I wouldn't have been able to do otherwise, and also change the footage around, edit bits of footage out that I didn't need, as well as that change bits of the footage from, you know, if I did one part of the filming at the start and then another part at the end, if I for some reason wanted the last piece of footage that I'd filmed at the start of a music video, it's easy to do that. It was really easy, just quick, at the click of a button. I didn't have to go around and clip bits of film off that they might have had to do back before this technology existed. It was much easier to allow creativity. Also distribution, I could post the edits straight onto my blog as well, and onto YouTube, where I got very invaluable audience feedback from my target audience specifically. Very useful. As well as that, democratization. Before this sort of technology was around, average people who didn't have the access to such technology would not have been able to make such sophisticated edits, and it's something that I'm able to do now. I'm not any big media producer with big contracts to big film companies, but I'm able to do it in a very sophisticated manner, which just goes to show how anybody can create media products these days. Which brings us on to the digipack, the ancillary task, and the A4 magazine advert. And in creating those, I used a program on the computer called Adobe Photoshop, which again was a very sophisticated program to get used to, but once used to it, I was able to do it with ease, and it was an absolutely fabulous program for creating new edits on our print productions. It made the editing process very simple indeed, and it also allowed for a lot of creativity. For example, in one of the digipack designs, I had black and white images, and it just made the creative process a lot more easy. It was easy to do. At the click of a button, I could make it go black and white, and it was exactly what I had envisioned in my head and what my target audience was saying that they liked, and I was able to change it really easily. I could upload the rough drafts onto my blog where I'd get feedback, and again I could change it really easily. For example, on the A4 magazine advert, I wasn't sure whether to incorporate a border or not, so I was able to upload both designs, my A4 magazine advert, and then let my target audience decide which was the best way to go. And again, as for democratization, not everybody would be able to create such sophisticated designs had it not been for such valuable computer programming. So that leads us to that, and that's the technology that I was able to use throughout the design of my media product. And only as to recap, does it allow for creativity? For example, it made the creative process a lot more fun, a lot more easy. Also allowed for distribution as well. It was I was easily able to distribute all of my products. I didn't have to wait. I didn't have to spend long hours trying to find all the bits and pieces I needed. I could upload, for example, the rough cuts of my drafts of my digipack design straight onto my blog. It also is much more easy to show your peers, your target audience, your assessors, and also get feedback from your target audience when you're able to distribute something so easily, literally the touch of a button. And democratization. Without all of this new technology, I wouldn't have been able to do the work that I have been doing, and it just goes to show that you don't need a lot of expensive equipment. You don't need to be a big media company to distribute such media products. Anybody can do it, literally at the touch of a button, at a very cheap cost.